Well, it's Saturday the 8th of October. This is episode 2236 of 301 Permanently Moved.online, a personal podcast 301 seconds in length, written, recorded and edited by me at the JMO. I got a new book this week. It arrived from over the sea. I ordered it on eBay ages ago and it took 2 months to arrive. Not that I minded, it was for the same price with shipping as the paperback second-hand in the UK. Opening the package the other morning and holding the poet Jane Hirshfield's 9 Gates Entering the Mind of Poetry in my hand, I was struck by a notion. There is now one more copy of this hardback in the UK than there was a week ago, and one less copy in America. And it's not like it's ever going to get shipped back there. The arrangement of objects around the globe is forever shifted. And it's not even truly my copy. It was someone else's before, and when my stewardship of it reaches its inevitable end, it will be someone else's again. Over the course of my life, I've had several love affairs with second-hand bookshops, now all sadly departed, killed by Amazon or by rising rents. Charity shops still have pre-loved pages. It's just unfortunate that most are filled with effluvia from the mid-2000s paperback boom, proudly sporting Richard and Judy's book club stickers, or best beach reads of 2006. My favourite second-hand bookshop was also my first, the Albion bookshop in Broadstairs. It was a proper bookshop. Haphazard piles of books strewn about the floor, hazardous piles on top of others, 2 or 3 rows deep. The shop was organised by gesture rather than theme. Sci-fi was roughly over there, occult books and conspiracies upstairs over by the window. The shop had a sort of geological feel, strata of acquisitions laid down over years, ready to be excavated by any intrepid explorer. I spent hours in that shop, the owner chain-smoking downstairs, Radio 4 chattering away in the corner. On my knees digging my way through piles, gems unearthed, like secrets of the hollow earth, and UFO photography. I first encounter Leary up there, under the window, by the stairs. A quick check every other week on a lunch break. Any new Star Wars? Any Pratchett? I felt an abstract connection to the people who were selling books into the store. There were, in fact, other people like me out there, somewhere in my own hometown. In the very early 90s, my grandpa and grandma used to give me 50p a week pocket money. I'd save up all month and buy a new Roald Dahl book. Eventually, we skipped the pretense, and once a month they would drive me to Ramsgate W.H. Smith's. I still remember the day I bought SEO Trot, getting home and marking a line through its name on a list carefully copied by hand from the front of another Dahl book. I had already become a collector. Broadstairs Library was another place for books. My mum took me every single week. In primary school, I remember we took a trip to learn how the library worked. The librarian asked who had read a lot of books. Someone put up their hand. They had borrowed 30. My hand went up and I said, "Do me." I had over 100 to my name and there were gasps from around the class. I felt proud, but also like a nerd. As I got a little older, Brian Jakes' Redwall series sucked me in at primary school. Robin Jarvis introduced me to occultism and horror. Alan Gardner, the English weird. And as a tween, the hundreds of Star Wars books written for nerds keeping the franchise alive before 1999. I've read them all. The second-hand bookshop kept me sane as a teenager. I wanted to collect, and I wanted to read. I wanted to read everything, all the books. Raymond E. Feist became my friend Martin and I's projects, and we found them, and we read them. Tolkien and all of Christopher Tolkien's History of Middle-earth books became mine. I found them, and I read them all. Moving to London opened up a whole new world of books, Waterstones, foils, borders, and of course the university library. I had a library next door, and I did not waste it. I read stuff that had absolutely nothing to do with my course. Obviously, Cervantes, the Beats, Crowley, the Dice Man. After university, I worked with books. First as a Christmas temp, then as a supervisor. With a 90-minute commute each way, my life became books on buses. The employee lending library was very generous. I'd burn through 4 or 5 books a week. Ursula K. Le Guin, Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time, Robin Hobb, and Brian Herbert's Dune. It was an intense time. I read The Russians, Austen, Woodhouse, Green, non-fiction, history, whatever. It was pre-smartphones, and the internet lived in a little grey box in my housemate's room. I had a choice: pay attention to the idiot box in the corner, or read. Pulling a rare book out of its jiffy bag this week brought all this to mind. I'm sure some of you may know this feeling too. The thrill of the collection. Amazon may have clear-cut the hunting grounds, and eBay may have destroyed the sport, but the hunt and the chase for a book still remains. And yet, as I held the book in my hand, I realised a book's eternal lesson. It's not the hunt that brings the pleasure, The pleasure is in the reading.